The Lotto trading has closed on the 11th of January, 2024. We always do our disclaimer first. We'll review our calls and then make some predictions. It's my trading plan for Friday, which is January 12th, 2024. Please remember I can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. Look for the pattern today with the early high, which is this. Tomorrow should also have the early high. We said the consumer price index came out today, and I just couldn't predict that with any degree of accuracy, but I had some price targets, 47.65.87, and ultimately 47.56.19. Those were lower prices after this big rally, and again, I just couldn't predict them with a high degree of accuracy. They did print, but I don't get any credit for it because we gapped up smartly. And the rule says if you gap smartly in the undesired direction, the call's killed before the open. Now, what's killed is the time, not the price. Once you gap up smartly, you're still predicting these numbers will print. You're just not saying when. You're not saying they won't print today, but you're not saying they will. So we get some credit for the numbers, but I can't claim that I said they would print today, even though they did. The call was killed as far as I was concerned. And this is just a reminder of what we said. And tomorrow has the early high. Well, MEJT said this move up was false, price would retrace. Said this drop was false, price would retrace. Now says this rally's false, price is going to retrace 47.61.34. And if we don't gap up smartly, that'll have to be the call. Gapping up smartly is entirely possible because the producer price index comes out before the open tomorrow. Tends to be a market mover, and I just can't predict the response to economic reports. We're going to make a prediction anyway. Just remember, if there's a huge gap at the open, and I suspect there will be, it might render the analysis worthless. This is a pattern which usually closes at the high a day. When it doesn't close at the high a day, it's a bearish pattern. It's also negative we have a lower MEJT target. It's also negative we couldn't overtake these highs. It's also negative we hit a new recovery high and just couldn't hold on to it. That's all negative stuff. But if we gap and promptly overtake this high, all that negativity goes away. We said if we didn't move up to a new high, there should be a straight line drop. Well, this was a straight line drop, but that pattern usually closes near the low, and this didn't. So that might not be the pattern. If it is the pattern, we're going to gap and promptly undercut this low, and if it's not, we should gap and promptly overtake this high. I suspect we're going to know which one it is when the report comes out an hour before the open. Well, tomorrow's one of the days we're going to have to be alert for a possible change in trend. This is all from the work of Christopher Carolan. There's a 3-day window for this, so it doesn't have to be exact, but January 12th is one of the days where prices could reverse smartly. Now again, the converse isn't true. Just because you have a date doesn't mean you are going to reverse smartly. But if you are going to reverse smartly, it tends to be on one of these dates. So we'll have to be on alert for a change in trend. Well, I've been commenting on the work of a friend of mine whose work is pretty good. This is an important time period for him, today's high. But if you're off by a day, it doesn't change anything. So if we do hit a new high tomorrow, it would still be a possible change in trend based on his work. Now let's take a look at this line. That's pretty close to to a GAN fan 1x1 line, you have to travel from about 1405 to 1423 tomorrow in terms of points gained to correlate with the 1423 days from this high. So if we do travel that much higher, about 18 points higher over today's high, you come up with a price of 48.16 to 48.17, where there'd be resistance to the GAN fan line of 1x1. Let's look around 48.16, 48.17. Well, this line is about 48.16. There it is. Now, if this is A and that's B, and C comes in here at 48.16, it's a perfect fib ratio, 61.8 between red A and red C. So the waves all balance out around there too. And if you look at red C, if that's A and that's B, if that's A and C is equal to A, you're off by about 3-4 points. It's not very much. So I don't know if we're going to gap at all, although I strongly suspect we will. I don't know if the gap is going to be up. But if it is up somewhere as we're just past 48.16, there'd be a great chance of the reversal happening. It would all fit. It's just something to look for. It's not something that really has to happen. We're going to use mixed signals rules. Tomorrow's pattern has the early high regardless of where we open. The producer price index comes out before the open. It often influences prices in a way I can't predict with accuracy. My signals are mixed. It's bullish that the only put-call ratio gave a buy signal. These are very accurate signals. They aren't pinpoint, but they're very accurate. They were going up, but the figure today was so extreme, I wonder if it's real. The data might be bad. You don't get extreme figures like this very often if they're real. It's negative. There's a lower MEJT target, and the rules say it should print if we don't gap up smartly. Now, today's pattern didn't have the usual rally into the close, but that would be rectified by gapping and promptly trading over today's high. It also didn't close near the low of day, which ought to accompany a straight line drop pattern, but that would be rectified by gapping and promptly trading under today's low. The picture's about as muddled as I've ever seen it. I suspect there'll be a sharp gap at the open, and if we gap and hit around 48.16, 48.20 cash, there's a possibility at least of a strong reversal. Now, I don't look for reversals like that right before a holiday weekend, so it could be delayed until Tuesday. It's just something we're going to be looking for rather than actively predicting. Signals are mixed. I tend not to stick my neck out. I do suspect we're going to have a strong gap. And if it's up, that's where I'd look for resistance. So it's the pattern with the early high. Signals are as mixed as I've ever seen them. I think it's most likely we get a strong gap, and if it's up, the old high could be where the old all-time high area could be where we have a sharp reversal, which might be delayed until next week. And that's today's call.